So today is November 19th, right? So we did a lot of work last week, right? We kind of looked at the lights, right? So I think things now, once you go to night renderings, it does get a little bit more fun because you can start to create, a certain atmosphere of the space, right? And we did kind of a lot of things. Let me just get my 3D Max open here. We did a bunch of different light types last week, right? So, if I do a quick, I will look at you guys' mirror boards in a second. But just to do a quick recap of what things we covered last week, right? Is we made different zones of lights, right, in a space, right? We had a zone of lights over here, right, that were behind the bench. That was zone 1. And these were all copied as instants. Next, we had a zone of lights. We had the one light that is pretty much hard to see here, but I do F3. It's the light over here, right, which is above and pointing down. That was our second light for our zone. That was, the light could be pink, green, it could be different things. Our third zone were the lights on the floor pointing up, right? And we have a bunch of different lights on the floor, to illuminate the ceiling at night, right? Then we had our fourth light, which was a single light, our fourth zone, simply a spotlight that was just given focus to our statue, right? So these are all lights that are, in a way, they do exist in the actual location, right? They were designed by the architect to work this way, right? And they were all meant to be pretty much indirect light. This way you really don't see the light bulb. They're kind of behind something, or they're pointing to the ceiling, right? To keep a very nice, simple line to the whole, architecture. So ideally, these lights that we made in the first round are all designed by, the architect. In this case, Mies van der Rohe, right? And they're made to just, create a very nice, simple light. The color is mostly, a nice warm color, right? And they just give focus to different parts of the building, different architectural details, right? The lights that we're going to do today, we're going to follow the idea of lighting, which is always pretty much the most detailed topic, because lighting is what makes a building, or something look, interesting, right? You can create, lighting effects. You can make indirect lights. You can make spotlights, and that's what kind of create shadows, right? And that it's, it's a design, right? You can be, you can be focused only on lighting as a designer, right? You can be a lighting architect, right? So it's a pretty big topic to focus. And today's topic, we're gonna focus on the other part of lightings that are used for like exhibition, right? So these are things that maybe were not designed by the architect, but as time progresses, we have other things happening here. This building, it's used sometimes, by different artists, right? For them to create, something, right? A space. And a lot of the artists that come here like to play with light, right? And these lights tend to be LEDs, neon lights, right? To create, color, right? So today we'll do a range of different lights that kind of make more of an exhibition space and make a more modern looking space, with the use of colors, right? And how we use those lights. So it should be kind of fun to look at how we will treat all those lights in today's class. All right, let me just check out the, see if I can check out here the mirror board. Before there was a problem, but now, it's finally fixed. So now you should all have access to the mirror board and it should be working now. Let me see here. So I see you guys, they're working. And today's the 19th. So ideally I should be seeing things here, right? On today's date. So as you guys know, before you guys couldn't post because somebody had given me a link to their mirror board by mistake. So it made your board, not functional. So that's all fixed now. So if you can go back, and start to upload whatever you can here, right? Let me see here. And you can see it, already a lot of these boards are completely blank, right? So, I'm trying to give you guys a lot of chances to catch up. So please, because I will be checking this eventually, I will be checking all the individual Dropbox folders, right? For all this work, right? You guys have here. I mean, if I go back here to your class folder, right? So here we have, everyone's here, right? And let's say I go to a mirror here, right? You guys are making a folder, or actually I already made it for you guys, for every class. So, when the time comes for me to grade this class, I do, give marks every week saying, who submitted work, who didn't submit work, right? But, I will give you guys a chance. So, when I sit down to grade this class, I will go here to every single folder, 917, Good, something there. And I can see that, your progression 924, something there. And if these things are all blank, then it will definitely affect your grade, for the class, right? So right now, it's the 19th. So ideally here, Amira can put here her renderings, right? And just don't forget to check every folder you have here. So everything is here, right? Miro board is one thing for us to present, right? But the actual way that I'm going to collect the material has to be through the Dropbox folders. Does that make sense for you guys?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, good. All right, so I see you guys already posted some stuff here. Let me just check out here. This is Kevin. Okay. Good, yes, we have all the lights. Nice. These are the Ies lights, the V-Ray plain light, right? Which is considered like a fill light. Okay, we have the upper lights, which are great. And I see definitely the spotlight back here. So there I can see all the lights in the space, which is really nice. Okay. I notice here that, the chair is gray and the little bench is black. Is that on purpose?
No, I actually
Okay.
forgot to change it.
All right, but do you know how to fix the color?
Yeah,
Okay, perfect. Okay. Those look great. Yeah, very nice job on the renderings.
thank you.
Yeah, excellent job. Wow. All right, let's see. Anyone else have anything for today?
Hello. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
No, it's because my computer was like connected to headphones and I couldn't hear you for a while.
Okay. Did I mark you absent?
You probably did because I saw people in the chat saying here, so I was like, oh damn.
Okay, let's see. Is it Jordy?
No, it's Hugo.
Hugo, where are you? Okay. No, I did mark you present, so.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
I also have a question when you were talking about each
Sure.
individual. So let's say I'm doing everything, it's just I can't render. So for like when I can render, would I render like the same image for each file folder?
Ideally, yeah, because this is why we set up those cameras, right? So, and ideally, the same rendering every week becomes more developed, right? In the beginning, let's say a rendering like this was simply, just a very basic one. Then little by little, the same rendering, like here, now we have a sky, right? Then the next rendering, now we have trees, right? Better materials, and little by little, now we have furniture, right? So, the same rendering is expanding every time to get more and more detail, right? So, and that's what shows me the progression of your work, of what you're doing in class, right?
Okay.
So, if you set up your 6 cameras, right? And you try to render, every week something, then that's the idea that I can look at every week how your one shot becomes more and more realistic, right?
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right, guys. So I see you guys working here. So I know, let me look at Ying here. Joseph has a very nice also, yes. I might consider here, Ying, the water, right? Make it a little smaller, the waves, I would try a bump of 5 and then a 5 for the size of the wave also. I think that because if you make it smaller, Ying, then it'll give you better refinement to actually see the shapes, right? When the waves get too big, everything becomes very abstract.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
That's a very minor thing, yes. Also here, Ying, this looks great. You have the light here, but this glass here should be translucent, right? Not clear, right? But okay, very nice, yeah. Lights came out great. You have a nice glow to the lights. Same thing up here. Which light did you use for this one? What number?
I'm sorry, for the interior shots. With the exterior.
The exterior ones, the one here, the bench.
It's 30.
30, okay. I think 30 looks really nice, yeah. And you changed the lights for the interior shots?
I did.
Okay.
So I just changed the colors, I think.
Yeah, definitely looks more like white, right? To the lights.
Towards the white, yes. Thank you.
Like, and this gives you a nice, if you look at this shot here, we have the orange lights, which is for outside, and the inside. So you can kind of tell where's the inside, where's the outside. So that's a nice technique to use for the lights. Okay, excellent.
Thanks.
Okay, I see you guys are updating other stuff, which is great. Okay, if you have any more things for today, just post them in today's folder here. In the meantime, I think we can start with a light lecture for today, and then I'll check back with you guys later to see if you submit any more work for this part here. All right, let me go back here to 3D Max here, right? Let's see here. All right, so I have here, we want to put a little bit more lights in the scene here to make him a little better. So before I start, any comments or questions from last week regarding lighting problems you guys might have? Something I can address?
Professor, I have a specific question.
Sure.
So for the material editor tab, how do you make it a little bit bigger so you see more of the materials?
You mean this one here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you really cannot add more, right? You're limited to this here, right?
Oh, no, that's not what I meant. I meant like, how do you see more of each material that you have? Because I only see like 4 columns or 4.
Ah, okay, yes. So that's you see here where it says options, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you go down here to cycle between 3x2, 5x3, 6x4. If I click here, it'll go to the next cycle, which gives you more. If you go again here, it'll go to probably this cycle you have here. So you see it much bigger.
Yeah.
So you can only
All
cycle
right, thank
between
you.
3, there's only three options to cycle.
Okay.
But you can try
All right.
that, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, so in that case, I guess we can start with this, right? So let's start little by little. Let me first unhide all, right? I'm just gonna hide the sky dome here. And the first light that I want to add here, the first extra light, is gonna be one for this shot, right? And this is the entrance shot, right? That's so let's go here, camera, entrance, right? And this shot here is good already, but because now it became a night shot, right? If I go to render the shot here, right? It might not look that good because, at night, you see here, it's lacking a lot of stuff, right? Like detail, right? We see definitely lights inside the space, right? Those are the lights that we made before, the upper lights. We really don't see any lights by the bench because it's hidden away. And it seems like a dark space here. So what light could we use here to make it a little better, the space? What could we use, for example? What do you guys think? Any ideas? So right now, our only visible light is pretty much this over here, right? Any ideas what we could use here? No?
Which space, Professor? The one at the corner?
Let's see here. No, I'm saying like in this overall shot, right? So, right now, the only light that we see here, right? But let's try to use the idea of a spotlight, right?
What did you want to put? Oh, okay. Never mind, you said it.
Yeah. So yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So a spotlight, right? So we can use.
Yeah, a spotlight that like kind of illuminates stairs, maybe.
Yeah, maybe the stairs, maybe the tree, right? That could possibly work, right? So let's see if we can. So again, there's no need to make a new light. At this point, we can, copy and paste, right? So I'm just going to select here lights, right? So I'm gonna pick this one that we already have it here set up as a spotlight, right? And I'm going to just, copy it over here, right? To this area. There it is, right? We can see it. We'll do copy because we want to act different than the other ones. And the idea here is, let's make it this bigger. Here. Again, this is the light. So we're going to change it to be pointing at the tree, right? So maybe the tree, where's the tree? There's the trunk of the tree, right? And imagine there's a light, just pointing up, trying to illuminate this tree, right? So let's see, I'm going to pick this here. I'm going to move it here a little bit so this way I can see it. And you see that it's very high. So I'm going to find it in this view and then just lower it. And then we can see the light right there, right by the curtain here, right? Again, make sure this light is not touching any part of the geometry or becomes not functional. But I'm going to put it actually lower here. Imagine this light is on the floor, right? So, and again, here is definitely touching that. So I'm going to move it forward like that. Then we can move it to here, and I'm gonna leave it there so at least I can see the light, and I can imagine where it's coming from, right? And then we can see the lights pointing kind of up, right, at the tree, right? And this will work. You guys can, if you want, you can change the type of light. You know, this light is a spotlight, so it'll give a very focused beam, but you could change it to one that is more, you know, widespread light. So maybe it spreads the light even more than that one. But let's try this one here. So, and because we're kind of outside the space, right? Actually, let's try this light. You know, let's see how it looks. So I already have this made over here, right? Let's do a region through here and see if anything happens. Let's say halfway here. And you might not see much. You know, if you don't see anything, it could be a few things. Maybe the light is not strong enough. Maybe the light is touching a different geometry. And do you see any difference? No, right? No, nothing's happening there. So let's see what's, so the light is definitely here, right? Looks like I must have changed the camera a bit also. All right, so I don't see anything happen there. So it could be the light is touching the grass, right? So again, it cannot touch any geometry. So I'm gonna make the light a little bit higher like this. Maybe this grass is very high. So I'm gonna move this here. Let's go back to this shot again. And let's test it again. Nothing, right? No, I don't see anything happening there. So what could we try next? Any ideas? So we have a 8 for the light, that's fine. Shadows are on, V-ray shadows are on, okay. Intensity is 400,000, which is ideal. Let's just try to switch the light here. You know, sometimes that you know might go wrong. So, which light do you guys want to try? My guys, give me a number.
Oh, maybe try 6.
Let's try 6. Okay, let's try 6. Okay, and then we're going to go back here and let's try 300,000 intensity. All right, let's try again here. Hopefully that works. All right, that looks nice. You see the tree here? So now the tree became illuminated. So that definitely made a difference. So, I mean, sometimes, you know, it gets glitchy and you might have to switch the light out. But for now, I guess the tree is definitely looking nice, right? It has a nice illumination to the tree. It looks like I might have just moved the camera a bit here by mistake. But let me just fix this here. Where's the camera? Like this. I want to see a little bit more of the tree, you know, the actual trunk of the tree here, like this, right? That should look much better because it will give me a better light in there. So there, so now we have a nice light at the tree. So again, it brings the tree back into focus, right? As a nice design object. So that's the first light that would add here, right? Simply a spotlight to give the tree, to make it more, you know, 3-dimensional, to make some shadows, make the bark appear more realistic, right? The stairs don't have anything yet, but, you know, we'll work on that in a second. We'll do it this, you know, stage by stage. The first thing is this light here. So I think for now, you know, that's enough for this light, you know. We'll kind of go back to this light eventually. But for now, let's leave it as it is. So it'll be just, and if you want, you know, to make it more precise, right, you could call this light, you know, if I click on this light over here, right, the one we just made here, I'm going to call this light. Just give it a, you know, right now it says T photometric light 17. We can make it a tree spotlight, and just to be very precise, you know, it makes it much easier to select it afterwards. All right, so that's the first light. Let's see what else I have in my notes here. All right, so the next thing. All right, let's do the lights that are in the columns, right? So if we go back to, let's see here. The photographs, right? So there are certain lights here, especially here, right? The lights that are here, right? These are the columns, right? And these lights, let me see if we can get a close up here. This is a good shot. We can see actually here. These are just, they're like neon lights, you know, so there's a cylindrical LED elements, right? And he's got 4 on every part of the columns, right? So, you know, and again, this could change to different colors. So this could be a very cool looking effect, right? And yeah, they have a glowing effect, you know, actually they look very small strips, right, of lighting. We see them here also, right? So let's try to make ours as cylindrical shapes, right, that are gonna be glowing, right? So for us, you know, the biggest thing here is like always try to isolate what's happening here, right? Let's see, so we need this thing, right? These are the shapes, right? So we'll use, select this, right? They should be all the structural pieces, right? We'll select also the floor. And I also select the bottom of the roof, you know, so the ceiling here. And then isolate. So ideally we have this, right? And we can see here that we have these columns only on the inside, and we have 8 of them right here. So we don't need to make that many. So the idea here is let's go to the basic shapes, right? And we'll use a cylindrical shape, right? And let's start by making 1 here. So this is not really that big, you know, we'll make it here, right? Kind of like this. Let's see, the size, radius, we can kind of play something. They're not that big, so I think something along this size would be good, right? You guys can, if I click in my properties here, it says 730 seconds is the size of this cylindrical shape, right? Next, before I do any copying or anything, I want to make sure it's in the right place. And first of all, I'm gonna put it a little bit above the ground. And then of course, we're gonna extrude it so that it's right below the ceiling, right? And again, it doesn't have to touch the ceiling, just kind of, it lies and be, oops, my mistake. Like this, kind of a little bit above the ceiling, right? And again, there's no point to show anything else, just this would be our shape, right? The next thing here is we can just copy, right? So we're just gonna copy 1 to here, right? As instance, right? Then we select it again. Copy it again, right? Then we can select these 4 together just to make it easier, and we can group them, right? Then we can just, again, instance, right? And we're gonna copy these things, you know, like this plus or minus in the space, right? And then we can go here. Everything is instance. That looks pretty good. That was good. And one more time. So then we'll have our lights, our neon lights, you know, on each column. All right, once we have that, you know, I'm gonna group everything again. So we're gonna group these things all together just to make it into one large grouping. So that should be it. Let me just check over here. So no, I'm missing something here. Okay, so now I'll group those things together. So now everything's one big grouping, right? All right, so what's the next thing that we should do now here? How are we gonna make these cylindrical shapes that we have here glow? Just like this image over here, right? So this is these things here, right? what are we going to use?
Why don't you use a V-ray sun? I mean, not V-ray sun, a V-ray, a lighting target, something like that. I think I forget, like what we did before with the light in front of the person.
Okay, like a V-ray light, right? You mean like
Yeah.
a light material? You mean?
Yeah, they like target that area kind of like
Yes, so it has to be kind of more controlled. So it can't really be an IES light because that's kind of it relies on one bulb. The idea is that everything is glowing here. So it's actually more like a fluorescent light, right? If you guys, so here's one continuous light through the whole thing, right? So what we can do here is to create the illusion is a couple of things we can do here. Yes. So let's try in both ways, right? The first thing we can do here is make it into a light material, right? So let's see how that looks, right? So let's see, we go here and we go to materials, right? Let's go here. All right, so find some place where I'm not using anything. Let's see. Let's try here. So this one, we called it for the light bulb. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this one here. And I'm gonna call this neon light. Let's make it a blue neon light. So we're gonna go here by the blue, higher. All right, so we have a nice blue light, right? So now let's select this shapes and apply, this. So this 100, we could go higher, there's no limit here. We can go to 200 if I want. For now, let's do 100, for the intensity. And I wanna see if it actually glows. So at this point, let's do an isolate. Let's find a nice shot that actually can see that. So let's see, green wall. Green wall looks to be pretty nice, that you can see it there. So here we can see this neon thing. So let's see how this looks. Oops. Let's cancel this. All right. All right, I can see a little bit of glowing. Let's let it finish here and see how it looks. I'm gonna cancel for now just because it takes a little bit of time and it's going to just focus on this part over here. Should render much quicker. And it's still building up, but overall it's definitely glowing, right? The effect, that's not bad. It should be glowing a lot more if you start to compare, let's say this glowing effect here, right? Should be a little bit. So if we compare here, right? Again, this has almost like a white light, right? And then there's a blue light emitting out. So, which means that maybe we should go a little bit stronger with the light here, right? So if we go back to the material here, we have the intensity set to 100 right here. Let's just, let's make it 300, right? Really make it brighter. Let's just do half of this. We can compare 300 to 100 brightness. All right, that definitely makes a big difference, right? The lighting is definitely much stronger, you can see there, but it still looks blue, right? So that means we can probably go a little bit stronger, right? So let's try double it again. Let's go to 600, right? Render again. We're definitely getting a lot more light in the ceiling here, right? Let's do this part over here now, these two. That's the idea. Like you see here, you can see a little bit of blue glowing effect in the ceiling, right? So that means that the light is starting to be strong enough to make an effect here. Like we can see the glowing space here. I'm already up to 600 for the. I don't think going any higher is going to make any difference. Let's see if we can really exaggerate this a lot. So how far can we go with this? Can I make it 2000? Yes, you can make it 2000. Let's see if anything actually happens. No, I mean, at this point, I think that's pretty much the limit. I'm here at 2000 and it looks the same. So that is the effect that it's going to have for this light. Do you think this light looks realistic, or what do you guys think of this light?
Looks a little too bright.
Too bright? And what about comparing it to the actual photograph?
In the photograph, it looks more like neon color.
Yeah, the color, yes, we can definitely adjust the color here. The idea is to see, because the one in the photograph actually is more, looks like more blue, right? Like, so let's see, let me move this range here to just blue. Let's see if that makes a difference. All right, definitely the light is more blue now, but this is a bad picture, but it has the effect that I want to see of this glowing effect, you know. So I mean, you see how actually it's casting a lot more light than we have here, right? So I mean, sometimes the lights get a little bit tricky. You can see here, right? These lights actually, they're really bright to the point that the actual light looks white, right? And then the color starts to be emitted after the light gets pushed out, right? So it's not there yet, I would say, you know, I wouldn't say it looks completely realistic because the light is still, it looks like it's glowing, but I don't have the effect of the light. So let's see what else we can do here to make this better, okay? Again, if you have any ideas, guys, you guys, you know, free to, you know, to make any.
Professor, what if we have to match the sky, same sky, so that we can get the same light? Because it's outside.
What do you
Maybe
mean
it's
change the
just
sky?
Do you have it at a different sky than the photo?
Oh, you mean like
Sundown,
you mean like the photo
morning.
here, the sky is black, right? You mean like that?
Oh, that's the photo?
Yeah, this is the photograph. Yes, yeah, this purple one. Yeah.
Oh, I thought the blue was the photo. My bad.
They're both the photos. Yeah. I mean, this here is the rendering, right, that we have right now. Yes, we're working. So yeah.
I was just thinking that the photo is darker, the background of the photo.
Okay. Yes. Okay. We can do that. Yes. So let's try that. You're right.
For
Yes.
example.
Okay. Let's try that. So let me just first of all, let's find the darkest background that I have here. So oops. Let's see here. So let's do unhide all, right? Actually, I don't even have to do that. I can just keep this hidden away. It's just a matter of, oops. I'm gonna hide this and just going up here to the sky map, right? And right now we have the dusk sky, right? But you know, from our list, we do have this one here, which is the dark sky, right? The darkest that I have here. So let's select this sky here, right? And let's go back here. Let's make it, you know, 50% so it doesn't get too dark. I mean, it's too bright. And then just let's test it out here, right? Let's render just this piece over here of the sky and see how it looks. Okay, so it's still pretty bright. So that means let's just make a quick change here. Let's make it at maybe 15%, right, of the intensity. Okay. Okay, that definitely got darker, right? I want darker, so let's just leave it. Let's go like 5%, right? So make it really dark. And yeah, I think that's and I guess the best way to do this, because right now I'm kind of guessing, is to you unhide this, right, to the preview image here, right? I would change that preview image to have the dark sky, which is the one here, right? I would apply it here so that I can actually see it. And I can now kind of look at it here, right? And we can see that we're looking right now at the bright area of the sky. So ideally I would rotate the sky like this, right? Until I get like a darker area. So this is probably the moon. So this appears to be the darker part of the sky. Then I could just select it again and apply the one that glows, right? And then render again. Let's see here. Where's my rendering? Okay, and now we have really nice dark sky, right? All right, so now we can, let's try that. So now let's look at the whole thing as once, right? Let's render the whole thing and see. Yeah, definitely having a much, yes, that's a good point, right? having a dark sky does make the lights glow more, because the other sky being very blue, right? It does create a lot of extra light that tries to reduce the intensity of that, right? So again, maybe having a completely black sky might be a little bit boring, right? But we could, I think at this point, we can play a little bit with this, and we're trying to refine it as much as possible. I'm gonna do 25% illumination for the sky, right? So it's not completely just black. I do wanna see some stars. Okay, that looks a little better. It still has a nice glowing effect. So I think that was a good comment. Yes, definitely that makes the light appear more realistic. Okay, that looks pretty good. We see definitely more blue down here, more blue here, and that looks actually pretty good. What do you guys think? You see a big difference in this? Which one do you like better?
I like the light now, but now it's blue. Well, not now. It was always blue. So if
So-
we're trying to match the image,
I mean, the image would
is
be,
purple,
yeah.
but now it illuminates more.
oh yeah, I mean, the light is meant to be, you can change the light, right? The light could be purple, it could be blue, it could be white, right? Like this. The same light source can be switched to different colors, right? And again, it'll be very difficult to try to match the exact same blue, right, or purple. But
Yeah.
at least now, we can get a range of different colors here, right? I mean, if I want to make something like this image here, which is like a purple light, we should be able to just go to the material tab, right? Find the light here, go to the color here, and try to match as, assume in this range here to make it more purple. Let's say something like that, for example. Then we'll try again, and I'll do a region right here. So we should be able to change. The one thing that is still lacking here that I don't know if we can do it, is that what makes a light realistic is that it has a sense of light decay. That means in the center of the light where you have the light bulb, it's pretty much white, right? Because the light is very strong. And as you go further out, the light, you get the color, very strong purple, and then it becomes less, right? Our lights here, right? They're just purple, always, right? There's no light decay, right? So there's no little white area that shows me the light's on, right? It's just all the same color. Can you guys see the difference between this and this? Can you guys see it or no? Comparing these two images.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a white and there's a deep
Yeah, so the
purple.
white, yeah, it's always, yeah. So that's where it gets, actually, I haven't tried to model these lights before. Actually, I don't think I did this in the last class or last semester. So I'm here with you guys trying to figure out what's the best way to make these lights a little bit more realistic here, right? So I'm trying to think, if you guys can have any ideas, let me know, right?
What if you put two lights in one?
Okay,
Make
that's,
the white
yes,
stronger.
that's also a good point. Yes, we could try to put two lights in one, right? That actually wouldn't be a bad idea. It might be a little bit of more work, right? But yeah, actually,
Yep.
let's try that. Yes, let's see how we can do this. Let's try to use a different light type to create this. So let's hide this. Let me just isolate here a little bit so we can. I'm gonna take this and isolate. Okay, here we go. So we have all this stuff here, right? So what other lights have we used before? So let's go here to lights, right? So we have here, let's try a V-ray light, right? Here. And before we discuss that, this light, this is the light we used before, which is simply a plane, right? So it's like this, right? It's gonna bake a rectangle or any shape you want pointing down at the space. Not really, but what other lights do we have here? We have a dome. Now we have a sphere, mesh. So really now these things will really work for us. Let's see, we could, I mean, if we really want to, okay, let's try to, okay, let me ungroup this. That's F3. I'm looking at the geometry of this, right? And the light should be something in the middle here. So again, we need to ungroup everything here. All right, I'm gonna click on this one here, right? And let's try to, all right, let's go right click and convert to editable mesh. So I'm gonna explode this shape, right? Then here under polygon, I'm gonna select, you see how this is, although I'm picking the whole kind of shape going down, right? Or at least mostly going down. Like this. Did I cover everything? No. Again, the idea would be better to do it once and then copy it throughout, right? Otherwise, it's going to be pretty difficult to, and this one update to the other ones. All right, so I'm kind of modifying this shape here, right? And now I did this, I kept everything now. So now that I have this 3 vertical lines, or kind of planes of the geometry, I'm going to do detach, right? And I'm going to call this I don't know, LED, just to be, specific. Okay, so now that's now different than the rest. Let's go here and make a new one here. I'm gonna copy this one here. I'm gonna call this white LED, right? Yeah, we don't have to go that high. Let's go to 600. And I'm gonna make this one just white. And then I'm gonna select that little sliver here and apply this, right? So pretty much now we're combining 2 things, right? Everything else here is kind of purple, right? For this light, we selected the shape, we did right click it, and we did convert to editable mesh to break it up, right? And by doing that, I was able to select this middle strip that's kind of pointing like this, right? And give it a different color, right? And I give it white to try to mimic this shape over here, right? And then afterwards, we'll have to select it again, right? And kind of group them together, right? Just to be specific. Group it again. And let's see. But before I go and apply it to everything, I want to, let me group everything here together just to make it easy to select afterwards. All right, let's do unhide all. Let's go here and let's see. I think I made it for this one here. I'm not sure now, but hopefully. Don't see anything, so let's just. Ungroup it again. I think I might have applied the wrong one. Yes, I'm picking right now this column and I don't see it here, right? You see here? So I applied it to, oh wow, it's definitely the wrong one. All right, so let's do this. I'm gonna select this, right? And yeah, I'm in the wrong, I applied it here, I should be over here. So I'm just gonna copy this thing over here. It's an instance, right? And I should be facing here. So let's take these. So let's replace just this whole column here. So let's ungroup this. Let's delete. Select this one here. We'll do again shift, instance. Okay, and the next thing I have to do here is make sure they're facing the right direction here. So, and that should be over here. Yes, this is the right. Oh, before I was in the wrong side of the space. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna click this one here, and let's do a rotation of this one. So let's until it wrong one. Until I see the white area pointing like this, right? Then I'll go to the next one. Maybe we can do it here also. Just there's the white area. So some things just take a little, this actually looks pretty good. And then this one here, again. Do you guys see what I'm doing? Do you guys understand?
Rotating
Yes.
to get the white light.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get the white light to be facing out, right? Like it, you know, so it's pretty much like this, right? And they're all kind of same thing, right? They're all kind of facing out the white light, right? Like this. So, okay, so let's try that. You know, before I exit the view here, select everything again and group it, because otherwise, if you want to go back later, it becomes very difficult to select every column individually and all these lights individually. So always group everything together, then do and isolate, right? All right, so now we can go back to this view, and hopefully that makes a big difference in the light, so it looks realistic. All right, okay, so I see a difference. I see definitely more light, right? Okay, it's not here because we didn't apply there, but okay, it's not bad. Definitely we're starting to get the idea, right, of the, actually I think it's pretty good. What do you guys think? Ideas, guys? What do you guys think?
It's a little better, but
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get it exactly. I mean,
yeah.
it's I mean, this kind of glowing thing we can do, right? Just and I'll show you guys how, because you guys see here that we're kind of working with this, and yeah, the light is on and everything, but what is the one thing that is missing if we compare this to this, right? What is one thing that's crucial that is missing here that the light has? So here is bright, here again it's also bright. We do see some light here, but if we compare this here to this here, what effect is lacking from those lights?
I think the glow.
Exactly.
the side.
That's the one we're missing. Yes. So right now the light in 3D Max is not glowing, right? At all, right? Let me just make this a little bit more purple. But yes, that's the key thing. The light is not glowing. Let me here, and that we can actually fix. So that's the so we can see here that, you know, we got it a little bit closer, right? We have the white area, we have the pink light on the inside. If the light is glowing, you know, we have a cool effect, but you know, but it's still what makes any light look realistic. It's glowing, right? And right now it's not, right? All right, so right now it's interesting. It looks purple here, and it looks pink here. Let's see here, something else. I mean, lights are always, as you can see, a little bit tricky, right? But as long as you guys know what things to modify, that's the key thing. All right, so I'll make a little bit less here. All right, let me do last thing here. Let me just render again this one and leave it. Let me do just, no, let's do here the whole thing here. Because now we're going to learn something new, right? Something to make, because there is an effect in 3D Max it is called a glowing effect, right? So it gives a glowing effect to any light you have, right? Right now that effect is not on. And also you see here, what's happening up here, right? That looks really bad, right? That's like that because I've made a light really, really, really bright. So when you make it really bright, it starts to give you a few errors like this, right? So first thing we do here, let's bring the light back. And I was trying to make it brighter just so that hopefully we got a glowing effect. That didn't work. So let's bring the light back to 100 right here, right? And this part also, let's make it 100, right, for the white area. And now let's render again, see that. All right, good. So now we have this, right? So now we don't have such of a large illumination, right? The lights here are still on and we can tell they're on, right? But right now we're missing the glowing effect, right? That's our next thing. All right, let me just make it a little bit. I'm gonna just finish off here with 300. Okay. Let's do this. Okay, I'll leave this render so we can compare this to the glowing effect. So let me first, and the glowing effect applies to all lights, even these over here, right? The ones that we did last class, you know, these lights, you know, any light that is artificial that we make, the glowing effect will give it that ring of glowing elements, you know, that is our final touch to make it realistic. So I'm gonna let this thing still taking a bit of time, but all right, let's leave it like that. Let's go. Okay, let me cancel here. All right, so this effect, if you guys look at this over here, right, and on the rendering view here, right, this part here is something that it's really nice for 3D Max. It allows you to do things that you would typically do in Photoshop, right? Like you can do color correction, you can do saturation, exposure control, white balance, all to the rendering. So, but let's do today one here. So the main thing here, let's see here. It's the one here called lens effect, right? So I'm gonna click here, right? Lens effect, right? And then we have here that we have the first thing is enable bloom, right? Enable bloom means it's the glow effect. It's just they call it bloom, right? And glare effect. So I'm gonna turn this on. You see what happens to the lights? Okay, turn off, right? It looks very flat. Turn on. You see a difference? I guess if you're there, I need to know you're there, because otherwise, I don't know if you guys are getting this or not. You can at least say yes or no, or
I don't see any difference.
okay, maybe my side you can, but let me make it stronger, right? I'm gonna go here to size. Okay, I'm gonna go stronger here. I'm gonna go all the way up. And then go here also to intensity. I'm gonna make it really high, so you just really exaggerate it. Do you see a difference now with the lights?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so now again, I move this bar all the way to the right, and even though the bar kind of stops at 10 here, it doesn't mean it stops. You can still go here and input a custom number. So I can go here and put 30, right? Now it's really bright, right? And now this is, this looks like a light that is on, right? And you can see, yeah, this also, it creates a show. I'm gonna really now exaggerate it so you can see the effect, right? So again, the size, again, if you go here, it stops at 100. You could make it here, 20, right? And you can't go past 20. I guess I can't type it, so I guess we can go there. The intensity, that's the intensity of the glow, right? Right now, if you move the bar you can see when I go up and down, right? You can kind of see the effect, right? And just because, again, it ends at 10 doesn't mean you have to end. You can go higher. So I'm gonna put 30 here. Then we have other effects down here, right? We have aperture shape, right? So right now, the one we have here is called blades, right? Blades are kind of these things that are here, right? This kind of star shape, right? And we have currently 6 blades, right? If I make this 3, for example, you see now this shape changed right here. Right? If I make, let's say 10, this shape, you see that we have now more of this kind of star shapes, right? We have 6, and then we can do the blade rotation. If you want these things to rotate a little bit more, but right now 15 degrees, we can make it 45 degrees. And you see here, this thing just rotated more, give me a more, cooler effect. We have the streak blur, right? All these things, let's see. We can also do peripheral grading, right? Which means you can control through here. You see now it gave me a little bit of almost like a rainbow shape here, right? You see that blue going to like red, and we can move this, right? It'll be, there's the rainbow length. All right, again, this is like really exaggerated, but you can see that what it does, right? So for now, I'm really exaggerating everything. You will never go, something this high. I'm gonna go less. And this creates kind of the glowing rainbow effect along the space, right? I can again turn this off. It's gone. If I go to the next one here, let me close the one called aperture. The next one here is called lens scratches, right? I'm gonna turn this on. This made this effect, it kind of, I guess, yeah. And we have a few patterns to choose from, right? Right now it's random. We can do stripes. Interesting, yeah, not really realistic, but it's interesting shape. Square, I mean, this could happen if you have a certain lens with an effect in the lens, it could happen, right? Hexagonal shape. And then these things down here, right? This is the way to manipulate these things, right? You can go a little higher, a little lower. I'm not going to spend time, but random will give you this shape, right? And you can see here the pattern here that's being used, right? All right, I'm going to turn this off. Next, we have lens dust, right? Again, I'm going to click here. So imagine, again, if you guys wear glasses, right? Or if you're watching something through a piece of glass, right? If the glass is dirty, right, or has dust, when the light hits the glass, it looks very, it distorts your vision, right? It looks kind of glowing effect, right? Because the dust kind of alters the light, right? So this is what happens here. Lens, then you have, again, a few patterns to choose from. Random, which is the one here. Square, which again gives you the rainbow effect. Hexagon. So these they're not a bad effects. It's just right now they're obviously exaggerated. They're too much. All right, I'm going to turn off lens and dust. We have obstacle image that we don't use that because I've never used it before. Filter image we're not going to use. So the main things we're going to use here are, you might use lens scratches, you might use lens dust. Right now, this is, it's too much, right? So we might, and then here, opacity here. See, opacity kind of reduces the light intensity here, right? So the three main ones are opacity, size, and intensity, right? I'm going to go back here to aperture shape, and that's on. So this was the one I like to use because that creates this kind of star shape, which is very realistic. It happens when you take a shot of something at night, and it's a very strong light, right? So I'll keep that on, but then I'm gonna play here with the intensity. You don't have to be, so high. Obviously, this is me, looks very flat. I can go a little more here just to get the glowing effect. So maybe 5 gives me a nice effect. For the size, right? Nothing, it means it's all flat. You can go a little higher. So, let's say maybe something around 60. It's a nice effect. And then the opacity, 1 means it's completely, everything's glowing the strongest. Halfway will have the intensity. So we can go like this, right? So this effect, is what starts to create for us, a nice comparison to this, right? Obviously, the color is a little different, right? But this effect will give us the glowing thing that is missing in all our renderings, right? And we'll give it that one extra touch to make it more, realistic here. Does that make sense for you guys?
Yes.
So what we can do here right now, this slide's a little bit maybe too white, right? We could always go back to here, right? And we can, go back here to the pink light that we have there, right? Oops. And maybe just lower down here, so it's not truly white, but maybe a little bit, lighter pink. So maybe that will give us a better light there, right? Let's see. And again, the effect only takes place as you render. So that looks better, right? Because I made this light a little bit more pink, right? Or purple. So now it doesn't look just white. Now there's more of a nice pink glowing effect, and it's still white in the middle, right? You see a difference for this one? Are you guys okay with this? Any comments or questions? Oops, sorry, something happened here. You guys okay? Are you following this topic?
Yes.
Or you guys just seem today very, very quiet. All right, so let's continue here. So, we know that we have one light that's working perfectly, right? These 4. So, the next thing here is just to make everything look nice is, let's just update the rest. So I'm gonna select this. Again, because before I grouped them together, I can just pick this, right click it and isolate, and I have everything else there nicely, right? So that's a great point. I know that I'm working with this corner, right? So what I'm gonna do here is, again, we're going to ungroup this, right? And we should be updating all of them here. So in a way, what I should be doing here is delete these ones here. And the good thing is they're not that many to, for us to modify here. Oh, this one is individual. All right. I guess what I should have done here is worked first on one column, and then when I knew I had it right, I could go back and copy to the rest, right? So that I'm not going back and forth between. All right, so this is the correct one. So I'm going to select these 4 and group it. All right, then we're just gonna copy these. It's an instance. And let me do the last thing here. I'll group it again. And now I'll move the whole thing again as instance. And there we have it. So now I'll pick that, and I'll pick also the bottom one here. And we can group it multiple times, right? So, like layers. So now everything's gonna group together. Not good. I moved this by mistake here. All right, so what I can do also here, I can select everything, right, at the same time. And then I can use, oh my God, what happened here? This one also moved. It's good. All right, so I can select everything at the same time, right, like this. And then I'm going to just unselect the columns here. So I can do Alt, right, to unselect the columns. And then I can do group. And now we have just the, I'm gonna call it neon lights. And then this as one. Okay, perfect. So now this is 2 groupings. And right. And all right, let's look at this again. We'll look at now this 2 parts to see if how they look. Nice. You guys see a big difference from before?
Looks much better, like with the white light.
Okay, good. Let's do a little, let's do a nice shot that has more of those things. So I think the first camera, we have the bookstore camera. Should have a bunch of these shots here. Yeah, let's try that one. So now we're starting to add color, right? This is, again, our second layer of space here. Let's see what we have here. And that glowing effect is also going to apply to, again, the ones here, right? So right now, it won't be applied until this thing turns green. When it turns green here and it starts to actually render the image, then it's going to apply that effect. For now, it's just kind of gathering information for this, right? Okay, let's see. And again, the effect, you might have to increase the, the effect, the intensity, depending on the shot, right? In the other shot that was here, right, our camera was actually very close to these posts, right? So we were like over here, and right now we can see that it is glowing. We're definitely much farther away, right there. So now the glowing effect just turned on. And we can tell because now it looks very white here and the light is being dispersed out. Here, the glowing effect is also working, right? It is on, but right now we're farther away from those elements. So it's not as strong, right? So you could go, per shot. So I can go here and the size and maybe will make it stronger. There it is. See, these lights get brighter. Intensity, we can make it stronger. And you see now it becomes a little bit stronger here. So you could vary these settings here depending on every shot, right? Depending on how close the camera is to the effect. The closer the camera is to the effect, the stronger you're gonna see the glowing effect. In this case, this light is very close to the camera. So this is why we see it very strongly as we apply these things here. And we have applied the, if you want to turn the effect off, it's right here, enable bloom. You can uncheck it. That's the old effect. You see everything looks pretty flat. Turn it on. Give it a second. Now it's glowing, right? We see that. Aperture shape, that's on here. So again, you can play with these settings as you guys go here, but I think that also looks much better here. All right, what other light is missing now in our scene here? So we took care of these lights over here, right? Let's see. But again, those lights also could be white, that's not a big deal. We could change the color of those lights. What's missing here that we don't have yet?
The lights on the roof.
Yes, the lights here, right? And what else?
Oh, by the edge of the pool, I think, maybe?
Yes. So we have also lights by the edge of the pool here, right? Which is, if we look at other views here, let's see. Same thing, right? Lights, again, these lights can change colors to whatever you want them to be. Let's see. There, we can see also here, right? This gives a white light. It does have these things here that we'll see if we can make them later. But for now, the main thing here we have is perimeter lights along the entire pool and also along the roof scapes, right? To give it this very strong white glowing effect. Right now it's white, but it could be any other color you want. This is actually a rendering, right? And you can see in this case, he made the lights here more orange, right? Which doesn't look too bad, right? So the color is not a big deal. That color we can always change. This is more like a laser effect. We'll see if we can make that or try to, something like this, but that'll be later on. For now, let's focus now on the perimeter lights that are on the pool and above here, right? These things. So how do you think we're gonna make those lights?
The same way. The white lights?
Yes.
Wouldn't it be the same way we created the purple lights?
I think part of it the same technique, yes. I mean, I want to make it as easy as possible so that I don't have to create, all these shapes, it's like I'm just reading right now the chat. I saw there's like 8 messages in the chat. And all right, so you guys can hear me, right? Okay. Somebody had problems with the
Yeah, that was me when I was telling you.
okay, perfect. Okay. Okay, got you. Okay. Yeah, so we can do that. So we can try it that way, right? Let's see if we can do it a way that we can make it continuous, right? So let's move this to the sides. And let's start with the pool, right? Which is a very simple shape here. And again, I'm going to isolate, right? So I'm going to select the pool right at the top. Also select this wall. And I think we can do isolate like this. So this is our pool here, right? Let's see here. Well, let's see if we can select. No, actually, let's select. If I pick this, let's select just this. That's our pool for the most part. Did this thing connect here? All right. So we have to put a light that is on the perimeter. And by the photographs, we can see the light's actually right on top of the pool, right? Right on the top here. So what we can do here is make a shape that we'll use to apply this for it. And the easiest way to do it is first we'll make a line, like a polyline, something continuous. So let's go up here, right, to the second tab, which is the splines, right? And yeah, we'll do a line. The next thing is I want to turn on my snaps. So we'll click here on the 3 with the little magnet. And I'm gonna click around the perimeter here. I'm gonna click in this corner. This corner. Let's click this one here. Doesn't really align, but that we can fix later. Let's click this one here and just make a continuous line around right there. And do close the spline, yes. So now what we have, now I'm gonna turn off the snaps. So now we have one continuous line here. Again, the problem with this line now is that it's a line, so it has no shape, it's not really 3D. But now we're gonna convert this line to a 3D shape, right? So again, select the line, go to the properties here, right? And the first tab here called rendering, right? Click on this tab, right? And click on the first 2 of them here. So check enable in renderer and check enable in viewport, right? And that converts the line to a shape, And we have 2 options. We can make a radial shape like a cylinder, or we can make a rectangle shape, right? So I'm gonna choose a rectangle shape, right? So now this thing became, a large rectangle like this. Obviously it's too big, right? But we can now edit this rectangle a bit more, right? So let's say we look at it here. So we have the length, which is the height of this. So again, an LED light is barely an inch tall. So let's make it an inch. We can always change it afterwards. So let's make it an inch, 1.5 inches. There we go. So this is the height. This is too thick. So the width right now is at 2 inches. So let's make it, we don't need much, just give it like I have it right now at 730 seconds. Enough to give it a small width, right, like this. And okay, so that gives you the basic shape, right, around this, which is not bad. The next thing that we have to do now here is it in the right place, right? Because right now you see it's actually above. So let me turn this around here. And we can see here. So this shape right now, it's too high, right? So we just gotta lower it. So for that, the easy way is to select it here. Right, go here to the move option, but click it with the right mouse. That will give me these settings here, right? And I'm gonna move it which way? X, Y, or Z. So look over here, right? If you look at your left viewport here, we have there the Z, the Y, and the X, and the one that's vertical right now is the Z, right? So I'm gonna use the Z here, just to like this, and just put it, a little bit below the top. So we see closely here. Oops. It's a tiny bit below the top, right? But along, and right now we have a 2-inch perimeter here. Sorry, we have a 1.5 inch height. Let's actually, let's just start with 1 inch, right? And we can always change it. So let's go back here to the length. I'll do 1 inch. This, we can always make it taller afterwards. All right, so there's our first shape, very easy, right? Is one shape that is continuous around this, right? And now let's make a new material. Same way as before, right? I'm gonna take this one here, which is the white light, right? I'm gonna drop it here, right? And I'm gonna call this pool LED lights, right? So I know that this is for the pool. And let's make the pool look pretty cool. Let's make it blue light. We can try a few things afterwards. All right, let's select that. Let's apply it for this one. All right, there it is. Okay, let's do an isolate. So let's get a better shot. Let's go to the outer pool, right? This will give me a nice effect of the perimeter here. And we can see that our lights right here, right? Here's a little 1 inch thick perimeter light. And let's render here. We'll take a break in, at 10 a.m. Let me just get this out here, and then we'll continue doing this. All right, we can see the light already is kind of showing up in our rendering. So lights always look very nice if they're near to water, because the water kind of enhances the light effect. you see how, because I have very small waves, right? It creates this very nice pattern, of lights here, right? This is the light from the perimeter here. And if the waves are very big, it looks strange. If the waves are small enough, then we still have some definition here of what the lights look like and even the shape of the space, right? And just the lights get distorted like this, makes like almost like a wavy pattern of this, right? So it starts to make the whole rendering more three-dimensional, and it adds more layers to the whole space. So right now, the glowing effect hasn't taken effect yet. You see the lights are on, but it's lacking that final touch. There it is. Now the effect turned on, and now they're really glowing, right, with the lights. This thing is still working, right? So if you see closely here, right, this looks very pixelated, right? As this thing increases here, then it will refine this and it will smooth these elements much more, right? But you see, this is a very cool effect, the waving pattern. And this is created by the size of the waves and by the bump of the wave, right? Again, maybe now we have too many colors, but what do you guys think of this effect like this? Anything we can do better here? What do you guys think?
No.
Are you happy with the results? Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
me, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Good. Yes. Yeah. I mean, right now, again, if I go back to that photograph, yeah, definitely here is not. I know I made it blue, and here it's kind of. Oops. Here is kind of between. Actually, so here, actually, the light. Let's try just to match a little bit here. So, these are white. These are blue, right? So let's see how fast we can make that. So it shouldn't take too long. So let's go here to the material tab. We'll simply just change this light here to more like blue. And maybe not so blue. I mean, if I go all the way up, it just becomes really deep blue. So I'm gonna go a little bit lower here. That'll be for the lights here, right? Then I'm gonna make these lights along the perimeter just like a pure white. So that's white LEDs, pool lights. I'm gonna make these things more like white here, down here. And let's see if that makes. All right. Let me bring this image here. I mean, this image is definitely glowing a lot more than our image. But let's see what happens when the glowing effect. We can always, make a little brighter. We can make the glowing effect stronger if we have to, right? To try to match these results. It still looks kind of purple, so I don't know if maybe I should have gone more blue with that, but it's close enough. Okay, so there we go. So it is glowing quite a lot. So this is kind of, it's kind of matching a little bit here. We do see a very strong here line here. Maybe the glowing here is too strong, right? So here I might consider reducing the lens effect of the size, right? That's, let's go here. A little bit like that. So yes, I mean, it's it's pretty cool, how you can create this glowing effect, right, of the scene here. And we're getting very close to kind of looking at something like this, right? Again, the lights somehow are still purple, but not a big deal. Although, let me just. So this is the. Okay, it could be that I made the white LED. So I'm gonna change this white LED to white here. And then this blue one here. Yeah, it is blue here. And let me do a region just to check here. All right, so now it looks, all right, why is it looking now like that color? Let's see again. This is blue, okay, that's fine. This one is white, but I'm gonna decrease the intensity here. Let's make it 100. So looks like maybe the white is overpowering the blue light. And the blue light, I'm gonna make it stronger now. Let's make it 300. I want more blue glowing effect. Okay, better, yes. So we get more blue color here now. We can, edit those more, but for now it looks pretty good. Yeah, so I think let's take a break now, guys. It's roughly 10 a.m. So we'll come back in about 10 minutes, right? And then we'll continue with a few more things with the lights. Before I stop, any comments or questions? Anything, guys, or you guys are okay?
We're okay, Professor.
Yeah. All right. So I'll see you guys in 10 minutes. Okay. Thank you. All right, guys, let's continue for a bit longer. Are you guys there?
Yes.
All right, good. Yeah, so let's continue on. We're almost there. We don't have class again, you guys, on next week because of Thanksgiving. So, you have a good break to hopefully, catch up with the work, and, try all these things here. So, I would say, definitely this Thanksgiving break, since you guys have no class, that's your chance to really catch up with any missing renderings. So please do your best to do as much work as possible. All right, so we have here, we already kind of covered the bottom lights. By this rendering, we see that we have also definitely these top lights here, right? And they follow pretty much the perimeter of the roof here. So we'll make them in the same way as the other ones, right? So let's just, let's go there. Let's move this. And we already have a lot of things already in motion here, so it should be a little bit easier. The first thing we have here is definitely this wall over here, right? So for this wall, we can simply just select it, right? We can isolate it, pretty simple thing. Same way as before, we'll use a line, right? Line, turn on the snaps. We'll pick one corner there. And because we have those settings from before, we still have, if you see my mouse here, we already have enabled renderer, enable viewport set from before. So whenever I draw a line now, we'll have those presets already made, right? So when I click here, I should have already the exact same size as before, right? Which is the 1 inch by, I believe, 7/32 in thickness. And right now, all that we have to do here is simply just move this thing down here, right? Oops. So turn off the snaps. So this is right below the top of the wall, like this, and we can just apply the same one as before, right? We can select this, materials, and we know we have here the pool LED lights. We could apply the same one, right? Or you can make different ones if you plan to try different colors. For now, I'm gonna apply the same one just to save a little time. So I'm gonna call it, so there we're at. So that one's pretty much set, right? Let's do and isolate. The next thing is the roof here, right? So I'm gonna use the top of not the ceiling, but this one here. So I'm gonna select this one and isolate it. And I'm not gonna go all the way around like this because we're not gonna see this back face. I'll do just 3 of those faces. So again, snaps on, line, pick this corner, second corner, third, and we'll do this one because this is facing into the inner pool, right? There we go. And then we can turn the snaps off, right? And then we're just gonna move this down, right? And right now it's hard to control. So for this, it's better to just zoom in very close here, right? And then go here to the move, but select it with the right mouse, right? And we'll again use the Z axis to move this down here and just put it a little bit below the, the top of the roof. Select it, materials, and we'll apply the same thing, the pool LED lights, or you can make a new one called ceiling lights. So that's pretty much it, right? We can do now and isolate. We can go back here to this view, and it should be nice because since we're gonna add lights up here, right? It is gonna make the pool more interesting because we're gonna have extra light showing here. So it should make it a lot nicer for the pool effect. So let's take a look at it here. Okay, so everything's black. What happened here? Wrong deeper. There we go. And I think for this shot, we mostly have everything done here. Besides, what this thing is rendering here. Let's look at this here. So what do you guys think this is over here? Any ideas? It's definitely a light, right? I don't see any wires, so it could be a light that is battery, operated, or maybe the wires are very thin and they're hidden between the here. But how do you think we can make those little lights over here, right? Come on, guys, I want to hear your opinions. How do you think we can make those lights?
You talking about the ones in the wall?
Yeah, those little, like, it looks like pin lights, right? The ones, those little ones here, right? I mean, they're nothing special, again,
Well, wouldn't you make a cavity in the wall?
they're not really a cavity because, in real life, these are meant to be taken off. This is just a temporary exhibition. So how do you think that they did it in real life? What did they put there? So they probably just put like like a simple square light right in there to create that effect, right? I mean, the lights here look very white. The ones here look a little bit more orange, right? But not really a big deal. But yeah, these 4 lights, again, we're trying to mimic this photograph so we can learn different techniques, that could be applied to different, projects right here. Right now, we have a nice glowing effect here. This effect, I like it because look what it does to my pool here, right? It makes this very nice, continuous waving pattern, that follows the wave. So that gives it a very nice effect. The things here, right? So, it's not really complex, like any light, a light, you make a shape, right? And you apply something to the shape, right? So if I isolate, let's say this wall here, right? All we need is a little shape to create that, right? So let's say we make, let's make a box, right? It's a very small box. Let's make this box be 1 inch by 1 inch, right? By 1 inch, right? Simple 1 inch box, right? And because it's pretty max, we can kind of fake a lot of things here, right? The next thing is, have the box be embedded in, well, let's make it higher first. And have the box be embedded, a little bit in there like this, right? So you have a small part of the box coming out. The next thing here we do is just, we're gonna get the box to be centered in this line, right? Like this, right? So pretty much, and probably once you have like this, probably the best way, well, actually, I think it's fine there. It's just, again, copy that, or before I copy this box more, right? Let's actually give it a material, the same thing as before here. We'll give it the same pool LED lights. So that will save us some time afterwards. Now we can just copy as an instance, right? There we go. We select this again. We just copy as instance. This part should be pretty easy. Just copy and paste. And one more. So I'm going to select everything, right? Like this, hold down the Alt key and unselect the wall. And now I can just group those. And I'm going to call this pin lights, right? So let's see. And isolate, right? And this will be our last thing for this view. Let's see here. All right, right now I'm not seeing, okay, there we go. We do see them. Here we go, right? Wait for the glow effect. You see these, you see how here we have this kind of white areas here, right? That's because, you know, the rendering needs a little bit more time to render, right? You know, right now this thing is still working and trying to address, you know, all the different, you know, quality. And night renderings typically require better settings because of you know, there's a lack of light. You know, in the daytime the sun creates plenty of light, but at night, you know, so technically we should be improving the settings. Right now, you know, we do that eventually. For now, we're not doing that. You see, now we have this nice little glowing pin lights, right? And we, you know, again, it's not perfect, but it's very close. I mean, what do you guys think if we compare? Second. If we compare this to this, what do you guys think?
Looks almost the same. You would need to turn off the yellow lighting that's there.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. We can turn these lights off. You know, again, the effect in that pool is different here because my waves are, you know, in this pool here, it looks like there's almost no waves, right? So it must be like a day where there's no wind. So in that case, the pool acts like a mirror, right? In our case, you know, I did add some waves, you know, to make it more interesting. They also have this light turned off, which is my green one, which is fine. My light here is kind of more yellowish. There's kind of more pure white. But overall, you know, again, trying to get the exact color is pretty much impossible, right? And it doesn't really matter. The main thing is that you guys know how to use the effect, you know, what it does here, you know, and all these things here, right? So from this, you know, you should be able to create pretty much anything, right? If you're doing your own design project, you can create lights that are LEDs. You can make accent lights. You can make spotlights. You can make pin lights. You know how to modify their color. You know how to make them glow to give it that realistic effect, right? So all these things, you know, we're spending a lot of time with them, but it should hopefully help you guys out with applying these techniques to any other project you guys might have, you know, throughout the class. All right, so we're almost done. I'm not gonna go today to the end of the class because there's already a lot of things we covered today, but I just wanna do one more thing today and just apply these settings to the inner pool, right, that we have there. So let's just go here to the inner pool, which is this view here, right? This view here actually is not too bad, but there's a few shots with also we use. So we already have actually a light here, right, that we put it before, right? But I do want to put a light over here, right, on this side. And I actually want to make it again through the whole thing here, if possible. So let's see if we can do that. Yeah. And then we'll finish there, the class. All right, so this is not really, so there's not really much to click on. So what we can do here, maybe do it in two parts. I'm going to select this and this and do isolate, right? So we have this part over here. Okay. The first thing is, you know, let's do like before, you know, we go to the line, right? And again, right now, whenever I draw a line, right, it's going to be this kind of shape, right? If you're going to want to go back to a typical line, when you pick line here, just uncheck here, enable, and enable here, right? And it goes back to a regular line. Otherwise, when I do these two things, it will keep whatever setting I used before. So it makes it a lot easier. So I'll go to line, which is found under the second tab under splines. And we're just gonna, I'll do F3, right? So, and just draw from, again, snaps. 1, 2. Escape, right? This is my first one, right? Simply that part. And then we can just do the same thing, turn off the snaps, right click it, that move command with the right mouse, and just put it right below that. So that's one. I think it's good. Okay. Next one will be the one on top. So the one on top, I'm just gonna, let's see, I'm gonna draw here and then move it afterwards. So I'll turn back the snaps on again. There. One there. There, and then escape, right? Then I will, let's see, turn the snaps off. Right click it with the right mouse. Move it down. I'm just gonna get close here. So we can see what's happening here, right? It's gonna try to align it with that one there. Doesn't have to be perfect. Then afterwards, again, it's going past a lot. Maybe there's no problem because actually it's embedded in the ground, but sometimes there's some light bleeding. That means the light, comes out of the space. So just click in the line, go to properties, open up the tab here and go to the vertex right here. And I'm just going to click this point, right? And just move it over. So the line ends kind of right there. And then go to the other one. There it is. And there we go, right? So now I can apply to these two, the same thing. I can select this one, I can select this one. This one looks a little bit longer. Oh, that's fine, okay. Materials, same thing, we're gonna apply that one. The white one. And then let's see, and just going, around the whole thing here, right, to make it interesting. And then I'm gonna copy this one again and bring it up to give me the top perimeter of the wall here. And do instance. Let me zoom in here a little closer. Right click it with the mouse. I'll put it right below the top there. So now we have a light that starts here, right? Across. We have a light that is here and continuous the whole perimeter. And there's a light over here, which we probably would not see because it's, it's above there. We also have this light over here, which look pretty nice. And we also have these lights. So this should be a nice rendering, I hope. Excuse me. Here, what we might have to do, you guys can do is maybe reduce the intensity of the inner lights, for the ones shining up to the ceiling, because again, if they get too bright, then it starts to then lower the intensity of the other ones. Like these are right now very bright here. But overall, we have now, in this scene, we have a lot of lights. We have the spotlight to the statue. We have LED pool lights for the perimeter lighting. And for the effect, we have vertical neon lights. And we have the inner Ies lights pointing to the ceiling, right? So again, this is probably too many lights at the same time, but they're all there. You can see how these lights, have an effect because this is reflective, right? Also have a nice effect on the water, makes everything appear brighter, and a cool distortion. The blue is not really seen that much because, there's too much light. So maybe you reduce the intensity of the inner ones by like 50%, imagine you have a dimmer, right? And you can reduce the quality of those lights by a lot. So that, again, this blue light is kind of, reduced because of the intensity of the lights here. And this scene would definitely look better. Let's see here. If we just, and the good thing is because these lights on the inside, we made them as an instance. So if I pick, let's say this light over here, right? And go to properties, right now it's 250,000, let's just make it 50,000, make it really, make it about 5 times dimmer. And then if you go to render, let's say half of this rendering here, hopefully we get more of the blue light coming up like this. I wouldn't turn them off completely, but I would use it, think about them as a dimmer, so you can actually control their quality. So what do you think how this scene is becoming? Would you guys do anything different or add other things to that scene? I want to hear your opinions for this.
The only thing is that I'm very conflicted about the chairs.
Yes, yes, I agree. Yes, because you want to have one chair per shot, right? So in
Yeah.
this case, you know, this chair is meant to be for the shot over here, right? For this camera pointed this way. So this chair, what I would do is just kind of select it and move it below, right? So you don't see it. And this chair makes sense, right? But having two chairs, you're right, it is very conflicting, right? So that's like definitely a great point of view. So yeah, they're still okay. You know, looks like I will have to reduce this size even more to make it darker, right? Because I'm not getting the effect of the light yet, but it is cool that you can see the light here being reflected multiple times with the mirror, right? And if I do one last setting here, let's just reduce these lights to, let's say they're 50,000. Let's make it 5,000. Almost, they should be pretty much almost off at this point. But let's see if that looks a bit more blue. Okay. And when you guys try this, you know, you can try these lights as blue. You can try them as green, as white. You know, really experiment with those lights, you know, and find something that you like, right? So, you know, since we don't have class next week, you know, I expect you guys to really, you know, look at this video hopefully again, you know, in case you missed some details, and really create everything that I made today in class, right? It's not really that difficult. It's just, you know, we do have to try different settings, you know, and adjustments. And, you know, with the lighting, you never get it right the first time, you know, either it's too bright or too dim, and you gotta go a little higher, a little lower, and, you know, and do a bunch of test renderings. But, you know, hopefully take this, you know, since we don't have class next week, take this class to really catch up with the work, because, you know, the semester is ending pretty fast, right? So make sure that everything is uploaded to Dropbox. Everything is in Miraboard, right? And, you know, you can start doing those things, you know, for the final. So at least you can really catch up with this. Any comments or questions? Anything that was
Professor, I was
confusing?
gonna ask,
Yeah, Sergio.
you know, so we're doing like the daytime renderings, right?
Yes.
But we're also going to be jumping into the night one renderings. So I'm confused if I actually should already have my daytime renderings already, so that after that I don't have to go back and start like changing like the lighting for the day or night, or I can just stick to doing
I think
the night
at
one.
this point, you know, we've covered, I think, every topic for the daytime renderings, right? For those 6. So if you want to get those done, then get those done for the final already, right? You already have the camera set, you know, you already have everything there. For the daytime renderings, you know, so because you want to do daytime renderings and also want to do ones for evening, right? So do those, you know, when they're done, you know, and render, you know, ideally. So if you're gonna focus on trying to get the daytime renders done, you know, for the class, then I would try to, if, I mean, again, if your computer can handle this, the quality, right? Right now we are rendering at 1024 by 682, which is a very low quality rendering, right? If you can go to the next size, which is 1536 by 1024, that's the ideal size for this class, you know, for making something that looks really nice, it looks sharp, and it will look really good in the portfolio, right? That'll be the ideal. So this is the rendering quality that I look for this class for any final rendering. So yes, if you guys want, you can start to render your final renderings for the daytimes, right?
Okay.
And that includes also the evening renderings, because you can probably get those together at the same time, right? The night we're still working, so, but it's good because eventually you don't want to leave for the last day of class to render every single rendering. You know, that would take, you know, that would be really impossible. So yeah, so good point. So definitely take this this week that we're not here to, if you want, you know, if you feel comfortable, you can do it. You know, if you have the computer power to render all your final daytime renderings at 1536 by 1024, right? Also, if your computer is faster and you think it can handle better quality, if you go to the next tab here called V-Ray, right? Right now, if you look here where it says image sampler, right? We've been rendering under type called progressive, right? Progressive is a great rendering setting for for quick renderings, as a good quality, you know, it's not really too bad. But if you want the perfect rendering, you know, which is everything's refined, everything's crystal clear, everything is, you know, there's no noise, then you would change the progressive here to the bucket here. And bucket will increase the settings. It might increase the rendering time, you know, by a bit, but, you know, you might try one to see if it takes too long. And if not, if you're struggling that is, you know, taking too much time, then just go back and stay with, you know, progressive. But at least you know that that setting is there if you want to create a much better quality rendering. Another setting here under GI, right? So for all the renderings, we're gonna stay under very low. You know, that's a good setting for daytime or nighttime. But if you want to get, again, a little better quality under the light cache, right now we put these subdivisions to 500, right? If you want to get better shadows or less, you know, like more better light distribution, you might increase this number from 500 to 1000, right? So 1000 means you have more subdivisions, more light bounds, which creates a better light source. So if you want, you can go to 1000. I wouldn't go any higher than that, or you can leave it as 500. You know, that's kind of the main things how the light is affected. So, you know, think about those settings, right, for the final render. But yes, I agree that you guys should definitely start to render the final ones for the daytime, right?
Okay, thank you, Professor.
All right, thank you, Sergio. All right, guys, any other comments or questions? I think you know, we did a lot today, so, you know, hopefully you guys can watch the video again and you know, and get all this done. Did I miss anybody in class that I maybe marked absent today? No? Okay. All right, guys, so in that case, we'll finish the class here today. You know, I'll post the video today, and I'll have a good Thanksgiving, yes, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Professor.
All right, guys, thank you very much.
Okay, Professor, sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask you something. I mean, I wanted to make a meeting because I saw on the schedule that you're an advisor.
Yes.
I just needed some help with the registration.
Today might be difficult because today I already have my list here of 6 people that I'm advising today,
Okay.
and they took up all my time today for that. You know, I started right away at 11. Anything that I can help you right now? You know, like, is there like a question you have regarding registration?
Yeah, it's just a question.
One second, let me just start recording the video so we can just